Chapter 47, The Secret Proposal. The decision was made. Lockster, Naelf, and Solari met with grim resolve. The survival of their civilizations, and perhaps the galaxy, depended on a desperate gamble, allying with the very species the Council had sacrificed. Earth is our only option, Solari declared, reflecting the gravity of the situation. The K'artak hegemony will stop at nothing that does not represent a credible threat. And the terrestrial projectile is the only weapon that has demonstrated that capability. The risk of further enraging the K'artak is immense, Naelf acknowledged with anxiety. If they detect our collaboration with a species they consider anomalous, their retribution will be relentless. But the alternative is guaranteed annihilation, Solari countered with his cold logic. If the Council falls, and we have no deterrent power, we will be next. And Earth, after us. We need that technology. We have no other choice. The key question was how to contact them. The conspirators knew that the terrestrials did not know the universal galactic language. However, there was a crucial clue, the message the K'artak had intercepted and decoded before their first attack on Earth. This fact had been recorded in the Council's systems. Let's recall the report from the Great Emperor XYLAR, Solari said, projecting a fragment of the K'artak communication log. He mentioned that Entity 347 Gamma sent them a mathematical pattern, primitive yet unequivocal. A not welcome message. Lockster nodded. That means the terrestrials, though primitive in space travel, possess a form of communication based on universal mathematical fundamentals that any advanced intelligence can decode. It is the very language of physical laws. Then we will communicate as they did with the K'artak, Lockster proposed. With mathematics. A sequence of pulses that demonstrates we understood their previous message and that we come in peace, or at least, with an offer of mutual survival. And we will ask them for an exchange of artificial intelligence systems for more fluid and accurate communication, so that our system and theirs exchange information to generate a translator between their language and the standard galactic language. The idea was audacious, an echo of the desperate terrestrial defiance. If the terrestrials had used mathematics to say, "Go away," they would use it to say, "We need help." A small reconnaissance vessel was selected, cloaked with the most advanced technology, designed to pass unnoticed even by the most sophisticated K'artak sensors. It would carry no offensive weaponry, only communication and analysis equipment. The ship will approach Earth, Lockster explained. It will transmit a sequence of mathematical pulses. A progression that demonstrates our understanding of their previous message and seeks to establish a peaceful dialogue. Not an invasion. The message would be complex, yet fundamentally simple, a new series of equations proposing cooperation, technology exchange, and an alliance against a common enemy. It would be a message of need, of respect for their capacity for resistance, and above all, of desperation. The ship departed in secret, a tiny needle in the vast galactic haystack, heading towards Earth. Its mission, to convince a species that had been betrayed by the galaxy that the only way to survive was to join it. The fate of the Milky Way, and the possibility of a new council, hung on the humans' ability to decode a message of hope, hidden in the same language they had used to shout their challenge into the void. Chapter 48, The Dilemma of Trust. The small ship, an almost imperceptible shadow against the blue of the terrestrial atmosphere, held its position. From within, a complex message was broadcast, a confirmation that they had decoded the previous human message, followed by an elaborate proposal for dialogue and cooperation. The centerpiece was an offer to exchange linguistic data and a formal request, permission for their artificial intelligence to study terrestrial communication patterns for a short period, in order to establish a fluid language bridge. In Subterranean Complex No. 7 in Buenos Aires, the tension was palpable. Terrestrial scientists had decoded the message almost immediately. It was not a threat, nor a demand. It seemed like a proposal for an alliance. But caution was strongly enforced. Argentina's president, Ricardo Solis, received the message and called an emergency meeting with the leaders of the other countries, explaining the situation. They understand our mathematical language. They want us to open our channels to them. But who are they? And what guarantees do we have? A young cybersecurity analyst intervened. They are asking for an exchange of artificial intelligences, ours with theirs, for linguistic analysis and fluid communication. We could be opening a back door. An attack vector. They could map our defenses, our infrastructure, everything. That is true, but we need fluid communication, Solis replied. Let's find a way to manage that exchange without the risk you're mentioning. Do what you have to do to make it secure. An alliance could be the key to long-term survival, but the fear of new aggression, or of being exploited, was an insurmountable wall. The wound from the surface bombardment was too fresh. Terrestrial scientists worked tirelessly. Hours were spent unraveling every equation, every sequence. Finally, the terrestrial AI achieved what it set out to do, translating the message into understandable concepts. The shock was total. They are telling us they witnessed that Milky Way authorities sacrificed us to appease a more powerful species as a peace offering, President Solis said, his voice laced with disbelief. Humanity was a pawn in a galactic game they didn't even know existed. The admission of the Council's impotence, their desperation, their betrayal, it was overwhelming. The message detailed how their enemies would first turn against the Council for their deception, but then, inevitably, return for Earth. They needed the terrestrial weapon, the dissonance projectile, as the only effective defense. President Maxwell felt a mixture of fury and an icy chill. They sacrificed us. And now they expect us to save them. The revelation that the universe was much larger and more hostile than they ever imagined, coupled with the immediate betrayal, was crushing. The air crackled with the weight of treachery and the overwhelming reality of their position. We cannot give them the weapon, General Vance firmly stated. We cannot trust them with the technology that keeps us alive. If we give them the blueprint, what prevents them from eliminating us afterward, or using it against other worlds? Solis nodded. But we cannot ignore them. We face extinction, and so do they. The threat of annihilation is real and shared.